The sun dipped below the horizon, casting long shadows over the narrow, winding streets of Brooklyn. Old brick buildings, their facades chipped and worn, lined the alleyways like silent sentinels. The air was thick with the scent of baked bread from Rossi's bakery, mingling with the sharp tang of gasoline from a nearby garage. In this world of cobblestones and corner stores, small-time crooks and big dreams collided every night. Tony the Fixer Marino, a tall man with a sharp jawline and eyes like cold steel, walked briskly down Marlow Street. His leather jacket, worn from years of use, creaked with each movement. Tony was known for his ability to make problems disappear, a skill that made him both respected and feared. "Tony, over here!" shouted Frankie, a wiry man with a nervous twitch. He was leaning against a lamppost, puffing on a cigarette. Tony approached, his footsteps echoing off the buildings. "What's the rush, Frankie? You look like you've seen a ghost." Frankie glanced around, making sure they were alone. "It's Jimmy. He's planning something big, real big. Heard him talking about a score that could set us up for life." Tony's eyes narrowed. "Jimmy? That hothead? What's he thinking?" The following night, Tony and Frankie met with Jimmy 2x Russo in a dimly lit warehouse on the outskirts of town. The place smelled of rust and old wood, and the air was filled with the low hum of distant machinery. Jimmy, a stocky man with a scar running down his cheek, paced back and forth, his face flushed with excitement. "We hit the central bank," he declared, his voice echoing off the walls. Tony crossed his arms, skepticism etched on his face. "The central bank? Are you out of your mind?" Jimmy stopped pacing and fixed Tony with a fierce gaze. "Think about it, Tony. The security's lax, the guards are lazy, and the take is huge. We pull this off, we're set for life." Frankie chimed in, his voice barely above a whisper. "It's risky, but Jimmy's right. The payout could be massive." Tony rubbed his chin, contemplating. "All right, Jimmy, but we do this my way."
No es lípupe ese punto.
Weeks of meticulous planning led to this moment. The city slept under a blanket of darkness, the streets eerily quiet. Tony, Jimmy, and Frankie crept through the shadows, each step bringing them closer to the central bank. The building loomed ahead, its grand facade illuminated by dim streetlights. They slipped inside, bypassing the sleepy guards with ease. The vault, a massive steel door, stood before them. Tony worked quickly, his skilled hands dancing over the lock. The door swung open with a satisfying click, revealing stacks of cash and glittering jewels. Just as they started filling their bags, the sound of footsteps echoed through the hallway. "Cops!" Frankie hissed, panic in his eyes. Tony's mind raced. "We need a distraction. Jimmy, take Frankie and the loot through the back. I'll handle the cops." Jimmy hesitated. "Tony, no. We stick together." Tony shook his head. "Go. Now." Tony led the cops on a wild chase through the city's labyrinthine streets. Shots rang out, shattering the quiet night. He ducked into an alley, heart pounding. The chase ended with Tony cornered, hands in the air, as the cops closed in.